will not tolerate any disruptions of the witness's testimony or senators' questions and the witness's answers. You'll note that we have a large contingent of Capitol Police in the room. Any disruptions, either opposed or in favor to the witnesses, will result in prompt removal from the hearing room, and my encouragement to the U.S. Attorney to throw the book at the person disrupting the hearing.
I think fire hoses, the water board, Gitmo, rubber hoses, the usual. I'm going to go full Catholic school on anybody that disrupts the hearing. What? Yeah. I'm telling you now, we're getting, and I've got friends weighing in too, and our friend Mike from Florida that called in saying, hey, maybe this is effectively an intelligence operation to catch the terrible reporter Jeffrey Goldberg. If he had been suspected of being a leaker to hostile foreign governments or hostile foreign entities like Hamas or the Houthis, maybe you loop him in order to nail him. Then you watch his communications, right? And Father P, our friend Father P out there, also raising the question, during World War II, for example, you might loop in a reporter who is an intelligence problem, an intelligence leak, and you bring him in the tent for a minute and then watch the behavior and see if you got a spy, a foreign agent, like Hunter Biden, the Foreign Agents Registration Act and all that stuff. But that's an interesting idea. But this is a call with the CIA director, the defense secretary, the national security advisor, and the secretary of state on the call. Now, are they all in the loop? Hey, by the way, we're running an intelligence op here, running an operation, and we've got Jeffrey Goldberg on the line, and we're going to track his communications after this exchange. I keep thinking of it as a call, but it's a text thread, and we can nail him. Now, that'd be a pretty high-level trap for a reporter at Atlantic Magazine to have the CIA director and the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of State. That's pretty high-level thing. Now, nothing is entirely and completely out of the question, but I suspect that would be a bridge too far, I've got to say. Nothing is impossible because it's a funny town and people do funny things. But I don't see that as being a very intelligent approach. I think you got to find out who connected Jeffrey Goldberg to the call, to the text thread, and then ask them why while they're strapped in a chair with duct tape, and you and you ask the questions. Seems like a good idea to me. But I'm kind of old-fashioned. I don't know. I mean, it's nothing is completely out of the question, but reporter was included deliberately. I would have to have that explained to me because I don't think I quite get that. Now let's go to some, because we have more stuff, and we're in hour number three. Oh, also we haven't gotten to. Let me go to the disruption at the hearing on Capitol Hill. The intelligence chiefs are on Capitol Hill as we speak, testifying before a United States Senate committee. The CIA director, John Ratcliffe, among them, we got Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, got the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, an Air Force three-star general, and we've got all kinds of, is he a four-star, and we've got all this fun stuff going on. And then these code pink radical lefties came in. Senator Tom Cotton, who is a great and interesting case for all kinds of reasons. Harvard Law School, joined the Army, didn't want to be a lawyer in the Army, he wanted to be an infantry officer, went off to be an infantry officer and not a lawyer in the Army, even though he had graduated from Harvard Law School. And they were like, come on, be a lawyer. Said, no, I want a rifle. Interesting guy. Now, member of the United States Senate. And I think, pretty much all the time he's looking for the truth. Senator Tom Cotton and these Code Pink, radical left-wing protesters disrupting. And, of course, this hearing was scheduled before this Atlantic magazine story. It was scheduled before that, but then it became all about the Atlantic magazine story before everybody showed up today. So the Democrats are trying to make hay out of that, and their news media allies giving them a rub-a-dub. And Senator Tom Cotton with the Code Pink radical lefties disrupting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Witness will suspend.
The greatest threat to global security is Israel, and the whole world knows it.
Israel.
Stop funding Israel. Stop funding Israel.
Stop funding Israel.
Stop funding Israel.
He's choking to death on his own
So
fingers.
that protester was a Code Pink lunatic, saying the greatest threat to world peace is funding Israel. I will observe, for the benefit of the audience here on television, that Code Pink is funded by communist China as well, which simply illustrates, speak up now if you want to be removed as well, whoever's saying that.
Democrats, they hate the Jews. Even their Jews hate the Jews. They're anti-Israel. Remember that Joe Biden handed $6 billion. Stop funding Israel, because civilization and civility are not what the left is in favor of. They want war and mayhem and hostages and torture and murder, because they're the left and nobody kills like the left. And most of them in the United States are too dumb, like those students we played on spring break in Florida yesterday, to know anything about anything, really, communism and radical Islam and everything else. But they know they're anti-Semites, and at Columbia University, they're anti-Semites. Stop funding Israel. Joe Biden gave $6 billion in ransom to Iran and the Ayatollahs because they were holding 5 Americans hostage. In 2023, Joe Biden handed over $6 billion American dollars to the Ayatollahs in Iran, the world's #1 state sponsors of terrorism. And also Congressman Brian Mast, who knows a thing or two about all this as well. And he put out a statement in November of 2023. Biden handed over $16 billion to Iran. 16, not just the 6 for the hostage, the 5 hostages that the terrorists were holding, but $16 billion to Iran. Congressman Brian Mast, November 22nd of 2023. Stop funding Iran. The Democrats would fund Iran. They fund Hamas. They fund the Houthis. They fund the bad guys of the world, because if you're killing people, then you've got a lot in common. They want to kill people too. Just madness. Crazy man, crazy. I am telling you. All right, and I so much still to get to, honestly. These crazy people, and this one, I started this story earlier, and I just want to share this with you because it's so insane. March 24th of 2025, that is yesterday, CBS News, not a conservative news outlet, and they've got a story that is kind of amazing that they even reported it at all. But the headline is, in Massachusetts, releasing immigrants, meaning illegal aliens, gang members from Venezuela. But CBS News says releasing immigrants, like we're arresting immigrants that are here illegally, charged with violent crimes, as Trump border czar claims. And there's a question mark, and they put border czar in quotation marks. Is Massachusetts releasing immigrants charged with violent crimes as border czar, that's Tom Homan, claims. It has been a month since Tom Homan, the Trump administration's border czar, again in quotation marks, told an enthusiastic crowd at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, that he was, quote, bringing hell to Boston. Said, You're not a police commissioner. He's talking about the police commissioner in Boston. Take that badge off your chest. Put it in that desk drawer, Homan told the audience, taking aim at Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox, accusing him of releasing immigrants, that's illegal alien gang members, charged with violent crimes back into the community. WBZ TV decided to dig into the press releases of immigration and customs enforcement in Massachusetts to see if violent criminals are really being released by Cox or other law enforcement. After reviewing every press release, it's not just press releases, from January to the present, WBZ found only one which said Boston police released someone wanted by ICE. That's a press release. They're only looking at press releases. That's not really the place to look, WBZ. All of the other releases stated that individuals wanted by ICE were released from jails or courts. They were released from jails or courts. And isn't that fascinating? Now, I started looking at this story today, and I found that they accidentally stumbled on the truth. Take Jose Fernando Perez, who was arrested by ICE in Framingham, Massachusetts in February. According to an ICE press release, the Essex County Superior Court in Salem arraigned him, listen to this now, on 3 counts of rape of a child by force and 3 counts of aggravated rape of a child in August 2022. WBZ called the court and found that he posted a $7,500 bail and was released with an order to stay in his home. Sure. And if an illegal alien serial child rapist won't follow the court's order, then who will? Isn't that amazing? So this is Stevenson Omar Perez Adjitlan was arraigned in Lawrence District Court. They arraigned Perez on December 20th of 2024. It's the Christmas season, on felony charges of aggravated rape of a child. This is a different illegal alien now. Aggravated rape of a child with a 10-year age difference, according to an ICE press release. WBZ learned that he posted $7,500 bail. So child rapist, that's the $7,500 bail. And then they let him go, and they're illegal aliens who are raping children, and they let him out on bail, $7,500 bail. Now, again, do you have to put 10% down and then a bail bondsman gets the rest? It's been a while. Was released with a GPS monitoring device. Sure. And then in January, he was arrested by ICE again. Juan Alberto Redonzo Marin was arraigned in Middlesex Superior Court March of 2023 for indecent assault and battery in a person over 15, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, masked armed robbery, and assault to rape. He was released on his personal recognizance with a GPS monitoring device in December of 2024. So what they're leading to here is that, yeah, they're releasing all these illegal alien criminals, many of whom are child rapists, on bond. Now, in the last 6 months, CBS News writes, the Worcester County Jail had 2 inmates who were charged with child rape, and bail was set at $500. Bail was set at $500. 2 other inmates were charged with cocaine and fentanyl trafficking, with bails set at $500 for one of them and $4,000 for another. Both of them were wanted by ICE and bailed out before ICE arrived. This is what the Democrats are doing with illegal alien child rapists in Boston, Mass. And surrounding environs in Massachusetts. And CBS News is shrugging. I don't think they even did a TV story on this. They just, well, the local station up there, WBZ, did some reporting. So let's take a look at this. And the bottom line is, this is the Democratic Party, so-called. Wah, wah, wah. WBZ learned that Jose Fernando Perez and Juan Alberto Renando Marin both had dangerousness hearings. Sure, and served some jail time before being released from the court. Sure. Yeah, what's the problem? One of the criminals, only 19 years old, didn't get a dangerousness hearing at all, just out on bail. I got to tell you, this is what the Democrat and the news media shrugs. Oh, we did an internet story on it. We really didn't do it on TV. What's the problem?
I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Now, we're just talking about how the Democrats love to let illegal alien gang member child rapists loose on the streets because it's one of their things, you know, the Democrats. Pretty amazing people, these people. You may recall on Ash Wednesday, there was a hearing on Capitol Hill in the House of Representatives, and the Boston mayor, left-wing radical Michelle Wu, who's anti-police, pro-crime, was being asked by Congresswoman Nancy Mace about them letting these illegal alien sex criminals loose on the streets, and Michelle Wu, named after a disease, she lied about it.
All right, I have my next question. When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history?
No, rape is obviously
Then
horrible.
why are you letting rapists back out onto the streets of Boston?
That is not true. That is
Okay.
not what's happening in
when
Boston.
When an illegal alien molests a kid, molests an underage kid, do you pat yourself on the back for being compassionate?
And Michelle Wu, Democrat mayor, Boston, Mass. No, that's not happening. And I just read to you from the CBS News story and WBZ out of Boston. I gave you names, the amount of bail, $500, 3 counts aggravated sexual assault on a child, and here's your $500 bail. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. I'm telling you. And let's go to this crazy judge, because I just want to tee this lady up. An Obama appointee, an Obama judge named Patricia Millett. She really loves illegal alien gang members.
There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
They love Nazis, don't they? They got to build Nazis. These little Nazis who are out there terrorizing Jewish students on the campuses of Columbia University and beyond. Jewish professors, Jewish passers-by, terrorizing Jewish people across the country. They're firebombing Tesla dealerships and vehicles. They're every knocked is crystal knocked, where the Democrats go. And that is an Obama judge, Judge Millett. Her haircut looks more like a mullet, though. And I've got more on that coming up. I tell you, and the idiot Democrats on Capitol Hill. CIA Director John Radcliffe was asked, well, how was Democrat leftist Jeffrey Goldberg added to the text thread? And CIA Director Radcliffe, who's a smart guy and a good guy, said, I have no idea how he was added to the chat. I wasn't actually in chat. It wasn't my dance party. Amazing stuff. Now, I just played the soundbite of this Obama judge whose name is Patricia Millett. And she naturally went to Harvard Law School and was appointed by Barack Obama, who's a communist. And she did, I'll give her, she went to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Used to be Champaign-Urbana. Now it's Urbana-Champaign. And then she went to Harvard Law. So the University of Illinois is better. I'll take that. But everybody that comes out of Harvard Law is corrupt, dishonest, very often not very intelligent. But here she is, Judge Patricia Millett. That's her name.
There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
Nazis got better treatment under the I think it's the Alien Enemies Act. Not that as a judge she would know the difference. Harvard and all that good stuff. The New York Post has the story. The Washington Post does not. Obama-appointed judge rips Trump administration over Tren de Aragua deportations. Quote, Nazis got better treatment. We machine gunned them down and dropped bombs on them to kill them and destroy the cities they lived in. So I don't think that's true. She's a stupid, uneducated, ignorant person, has no awareness of American history or world history or 20th century history. Sparks flew during a closely watched federal appeals court hearing Monday afternoon with a Barack Obama-appointed judge tearing into the Trump administration's plan to mass deport alleged members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Judge Patricia Millett, a member of the bench since 2013, dominated much of the questioning. She was dressed like a Gestapo officer, had a little riding crop in her hand. Raus, raus, holding her hand quizzically against her chin as she grilled a Justice Department lawyer over due process concerns for the 260 purported illegal migrants shipped to a notorious El Salvador prison earlier this month under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. Not the Alien Enemy Act, as the Harvard lawyer said. So and we didn't treat Nazis better during World War II. There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people, Judge Millett exclaimed at one point. Isn't that amazing? So these Democrats, they will call everybody Nazis or bring Nazis into everything while defending Tren de Aragua Venezuelan gang members, many of whom may have escaped from prison or be released from prison to come to the United States. They murder nursing students in Georgia and mothers of 5 in Maryland on hiking trails, and they rape and murder. And the Democrat Party is their best friend in America. There is no doubt about it. Now, the woman is just another typical Democrat, typical Harvard grad. They're all mental, just amazing stuff. But Tom Homan, the border czar, was on the Laura Ingraham program, and he was asked about this Democrat judge and her insane claim that Nazis were treated better in World War II.
Well, it's just another example of an out-of-touch a judge, an activist judge, making a comparison. Are you kidding me? To the Holocaust and Nazis? First, what the hell has that got to do with anything? We're talking about Aliens Enemies Act. We're talking about terrorists being deported from the United States. It's disgusting she even said that, and to just try to evoke more, nonsense on the left media, whatever. But it's a ridiculous statement to make. And again, it's another example of an activist judge who doesn't understand, or probably understands, but wants to push back against the Trump administration, who was given a mandate to arrest public safety threats and get them out of the country, especially terrorists.
And I love the fact that while they call everybody Nazis and bring Nazis into everything, at Columbia University, they're dressed like Hamas and stamping their feet around the campus of the Ivy League university that Barack Obama went to, calling for the state of Israel to be exterminated from the river to the sea and all the Jews to be killed in a racist, anti-Semitic genocide. You guys, you got to put a prohibition on using the word Nazi, because you guys are so close to being the Nazis that Jews are fleeing California and New York to get away from you Nazi-like people and your Nazi-like behavior. Just a little clue. And I know a thing or two about it. I was kind of raised on it. My father killed Nazis in World War II. It was in vogue then. It was okay. It was all right. The Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, was also asked about these ridiculous judges like this Obama judge with her irrational, insane, ignorant, anti-historic Nazi claim.
We're under modern-day warfare now with these terrorists in our country, and we had every right. President Trump had every right to ship these terrorists out of our country, which he did. Flew them to a prison in El Salvador where they are safely housed tonight, and that's why Americans are safer. Judge Boasberg is trying to control our entire federal policy, our foreign policy, everything we do.
Judge Boasberg, he was a Yale law guy, actually, not Harvard. And and they're all the same. There should be one left-wing school in America. And by the way, they're all slaveholders. They all love at UC, Berkeley, at Yale. That Yale was a slave owner. Berkeley was a slave. People that these institutions were named after, slave owners. But never mind that. And the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, it's modern-day warfare. And Judge Boasberg was saying, oh, no, bring those illegal alien Venezuelan gang members back. Like, sorry, the plane's already out of American airspace. We're continuing to El Salvador. Bring them back. Turn those machines back on. Bring those gang members back to the United States and let them loose in my daughter's junior high school shower room because they're mental. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General of the United States, talking about these left-wing judges. And, yeah, Boasberg was that guy, and he's an Obama guy, Obama appointee. And this dim-witted judge, Patricia Millett, and she's we treated Nazis better in World War II. You may not be familiar with World War II, but in Europe, about 50 million people were killed. Other than that, I'm sure it's much worse what's happening to these gang members.
I'm fairly confident we will be successful, and this judge will be knocked down in his ruling, his very poor ruling. One single district judge thinks that he can control our entire country, and he can't do it. None of these judges can do it.
None of these darn judges can do it. Not a one of them. Not a thing. The Attorney General, activist judges.
We will continue to make America great again because that's Donald Trump's directive. And that's what he's doing, and he's keeping us safe, and he's not going to stop. And these judges are apoplectic because they cannot control making America safe again, making America great again, and making America prosperous again. And Donald Trump is going to continue that regardless of their horrible rulings.
But every Obama-appointed judge and lots of Biden, I played the audio for you, Chuck Schumer bragging about all these hundreds of judges that he and Joe Biden put on the bench and how many of them are actively obstructing the elected president of the United States. And you know how these mental cases, they're very angry that Elon Musk, who wasn't even elected, has all this. He's looking at my Social Security number. Yeah, he's going to do a lot with that. And he was hilarious when he was asked, you're stealing people's Social Security money. He's like, yeah, now I'll finally be able to buy nice things. He's worth $400 billion. I think he can get a pizza from Domino's if he wants any time. Isn't that amazing? But you may recall.
We did put 235 judges, progressive judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time.
We put them in. You are a third world tree dweller. You should be peeling bananas in a treetop. You're a scaly marsupial. You honestly. The Lizard King, 235 crooked judges that the Democrats found that he and Biden put in, and and he's bragging about this criminality, this third worldism. The left is the third world, and they're bragging about it. Aren't they amazing? And they loved Elon Musk until they hated Elon Musk. These people have a lot of mental issues, not just the gender and the genitalia things and the sexual things, although those are a big focus much of the time. In fact, Elon Musk was once again at the cabinet meeting. There was a cabinet meeting at the White House yesterday, and you may remember that Joe Biden never had cabinet meetings, and he finally had the first one in a year, and Jill Biden presided over it. And our news media, if we only had a news media, man, I am telling you. But the cabinet meeting was kind of fun at the White House yesterday. Big meeting. And the media, they're very angry about it because they're Democrats, and they're angry about everything. But Pam Bondi was there as the Attorney General at the cabinet meeting. Elon Musk was there, not at the front, not in the front row, but in the back row, where you have staffers and so on, but not the principals, the secretaries and the agency heads. Pam Bondi.
There is a tremendous amount of fraud, and Elon, thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your team. You have uncovered so much fraud in our government, and we will prosecute you. We have an internal task force now working with every agency sitting here at this table, and if you've committed fraud, we're coming after you.
We will prosecute you. Sounded like she was going to prosecute Elon Musk, but she's talking about the people. You're finding these people that are committing waste, fraud, and abuse. And where possible, we will prosecute you. Elon Musk was, again, in the cabinet meeting at the White House. This infuriates the Democrats. You know, these judges, they were unelected. But they're like, oh, hey, Elon Musk wasn't even elected. Joe Biden's entire cabinet was unelected. They were just picked by Joe Biden and then got the rubber stamp from what was then Chuck Schumer's Senate. Elon Musk.
The case of fraud was with the Small Business Administration, where they were handing out loans, $330 million worth of loans to people under the age of 11. I think the youngest, Kelly, was a 9-month-old who got a $100,000 loan. That's a very precocious baby we're talking about here.
A 9-month-old. How old is a 9-month-old? I'm not a father, Michael. How old is a 9-month-old? Under one, I think under 1 years old. I like that. He's only 1 years old. I like that. So that'd be a 9-month-old, not a 9-month-year-old. That's kind of odd coming from the smartest man in the world, the most successful man in the history of the world. And I've got to say, and Pam Bondi had a grammatical faux pas or two as well. It's a complex world, isn't it? The English language can be a complex language. Let's take a phone call, Mike. Let's go to Rick calling from beautiful Buffalo, New York. Ricardo, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Rick.
Hi. I just want to have this judge brush up on her Nazi history. In June of 1942, the German name, Operation Pistorius, had 2 German 4-man teams land on the East Coast, one in Long Island, one in Florida. They made their way to New York. A former member of the U.S. Army named George Dash was with the Germans. He got cold feet and convinced the others to give themselves up. A mere 3 days, he called the FBI in New York. They hung up on him. So he traveled to Washington, gave himself up. 2 of them got lifelong prison sentence, and the other 6 got executed. So, yeah, they should be treated like Nazis.
I love it. That is great. That is wonderful. Yeah, and I'm familiar with the episode of the Saboteurs Landing in New York. And I was thinking when you started telling the story, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this story. And they were executed, right? And, Rick, you got to it. So 2 of them got life in prison and 6 of them were executed, right?
Yes. Have the judge treat them like that.
You know, they don't teach much at Harvard. One of the things I've discovered, Rick, is people get into Harvard because their dad gets them the right tutors. And once you're in, apparently the standards are not very high at all. Washington, D.C. is filled with Ivy League grads who are just not very bright. They're bright enough to be corrupt, though, and rake in lots of other people's money. George Dash and the Nazi saboteurs executed. Great stuff. Thank you for that, Rick. That's a wonderful response.
He was wearing my Harvard tie. Can you believe it? My Harvard tie. Like, oh, sure. He went to Harvard.
Now, the hearing on Capitol Hill today, A Democrat nitwit by the name of Angus King, he's a U.S. senator, used to be the world's greatest deliberative body, attacking Tulsi Gabbard, who continues in the U.S. Army Reserve as a lieutenant colonel, and she served in Iraq, unlike that Twinkie out of Minnesota. And they had this little exchange, Angus King and Tulsi Gabbard, Capitol Hill Senate hearing today.
One note that surprised me, I've been on this committee now this is my 13th year.
Angus.
Every single one of these reports that we have had has mentioned global climate change as a significant national security threat, except this one. Has something happened? Has global climate change been solved?
Yeah, it has.
Why
You're
is
welcome.
that not in this report? And who made the decision that it should not be in the report?
Obviously, we're aware of occurrences within the environment and how they may impact operations, but we're focused on the direct threats to Americans' safety, well-being, and security.
Yeah, he wants to know about climate change, the intelligence community and climate change, and that's the big thing. Now, Democrat Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, also drilling, quizzing Tulsi Gabbard. Hey, what about those text messages? There are no classified exchanges or discussion anywhere in it, and somehow we got to get to the bottom of who invited this left-wing radical to be on the call.
Director Gabbard, you are the security executive and set access guidelines for classified information. Did you contact the defense secretary or others after this specific military planning was put out and say, hey, we should be doing this in a SCIF?
A SCIF?
There was no classified material that was shared in that.
So then if there's no classified material, share it with the committee.
Well, I don't have 3 hours of text thread printed out in front of me to read to you for hours on end. But, this radical left-wing media academic wank named Elie Mystal, he appears on MSDNC a lot. And he's out there today saying that he's a black guy. He's got funny hair. And he says he's been saying for a long time that voter ID is racist because black people can't have IDs in 2025. Now he's saying that voter registration is racist. Just having to register to vote is racist. Hey, Elie Mystal, if you're so stupid that you don't have an ID, can't get an ID, not smart enough to register to vote, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. You should be in that prison in El Salvador.